Is my therapist experiencing transference? Just some background on my situation. I've recently come to terms with my emotional abuse and neglect that I face at the hands of my parents. I hold a lot of resentment towards them, especially because they continue to disrespect and abuse me. Sadly, I'm still living with them, but I'm trying to move out as soon as possible.
Sí se puede. You can do it. Sorry.
Often when I share my situation about my parents, my therapist brings up his relationship with his own mom. The first few times he brought it up, I figured it was to build rapport and trust, but it's starting to feel weird. I wonder how he can give me good care if he keeps pulling from his own relationship with his mother. It feels as if he's using his relationship as a model for how mine should look with my mom and dad. During my most recent session, I kept saying that I want to go no contact with my parents and my sibling, how I want to get a good job and move away and not look back. I don't want to be 40 or 50 or 60 years old and still being around people that constantly put me down. I also don't feel like they deserve me in their lives. He kept saying that no contact isn't logical and a better solution would be to figure out a way to still be around them, but to not let them bother me / not care about what they think. He said that's what he does with his mom. All right, pause. Horrible therapist.
You already know what I
fired.
think. Yeah, fired.
Dub.
Fired.
Done.
I already know what the question.
Projecting.
Yeah.
You just had a really brave, insightful moment, and even if he disagreed internally, he shouldn't have shat on it like that.
Shat on it and gave you redirection to what you should have done.
Yeah,
That's
it was like
nuts.
a good therapist is helping you figure out how to live your life in the way you want to live it. A crappy therapist is telling you to live life in the way they should. And also, he's probably personally offended that you're like, I don't want to be you.
Yes.
But fuck him. You don't want to be him. So go get a therapist who has a life parallel to what you want.
And also your feeling is correct about your family, most likely.
It is. It's so hard to go no contact. Anytime somebody's talking about cutting off their parent in a legitimate way, I know it was foul.
It was foul.
I know your parent was foul. I don't need any proof.
Yep, exactly.
What do you guys think about, like, is it okay for a therapist to use their personal life in your therapy?
Sometimes, yes. We talk about
sparingly.
Yes.
Very sparingly. Like, it shouldn't even happen once a session. It should happen like once a month. If you were seeing them 4 times a month, it should happen maybe once a month, and it should be a 5-minute thing.
Yes.
The only reason you should be sharing personal information is because you're trying to make that other person feel safe or understood. And I feel
only
like
in real, like kind of dire, not dire, but kind of like, dire situations.
Like, the healthy version of this is like at one point in one session being like, I also have a difficult relationship with a parent, and I understand the pull you have to still talk to them, or something like that.
I often will ask for permission sometimes. I'm like, can I share something with you? Like, and if it feels like it's taking up too much, I kind of pat it a lot, especially if it's somebody I haven't done it with before. Yeah. And I rarely do it in like the first 3 months. I think it's different because it's outpatient, but like I really like don't want to.
I don't do it.
Yeah, I do.
Sometimes I clown with the teens. Like, I'm like, shout out to Dead Dad Club and stuff like that because I think it's funny. But
and rarely do I give like real details.
No.
I would never give details, but it's like, this is something, and I'm seeing you as a human. I actually remember my therapist doing it. She's done it once. I've been working with her for 3 years. She's done it once, and it changed the trajectory of our therapy. Actually, I think
because you felt like less shame.
Yes, exactly.
So very sparingly, but this whole like, do what I do with my mom. No. There was a lot of bad therapists.
It's a white therapist.
It's a lot of therapists.
It's a white male.
I know black therapists who do that shit too.
I understand what he's saying. He doesn't think it's plausible for me to go no contact because I have too much love for my parents. Understandable, but his delivery just felt so forceful.
Terrible.
Like I wasn't even allowed to consider no contact a possibility. Throughout the session, I just kept getting more and more frustrated, and I left the session feeling very unheard.
Yeah.
I just want to stop now and say this is why having a therapist who's not a good therapist is such an impact on her, but because she feels so safe because it's a therapist, because she
wants to believe in it so much.
She wants to believe in it so much that she's questioning herself and making up these really empathetic stories for this guy about how he must have the best intentions, and it must be because what she's saying is
he still gets to have an off day, like some shit like that.
Well, she's doing the whole like, well, maybe what I want is unrealistic. She's questioning what her intuition was because of this therapist.
She's recreating something with the therapist, which is nuts.
Trash. Throughout the session, I just kept getting more and more frustrated. Oh, another thing I was talking about is how I don't want to be the executor of a trust my parents are making for my brother. My brother is a huge narcissist and sadist, and he's just awful to be around. I told my therapist that when my parents pass away...
Sadist is nuts.
Narcissist and sadist.
I want nothing to do with my brother. My therapist then asked me, but do you think you'll ever be able to cut him off? Yo!
This therapist isn't in therapy and, like, has never been in therapy.
He's projecting. What is he projecting?
Trauma.
Yeah. What's the trauma? Mommy and daddy stuff.
Yeah, and sibling shit.
You can't help that he's a narcissist and a sadist.
He asked it in a very leading way, implying I wouldn't be able to, and then implied that it's better that I at least have some power in the situation. Again, bring up his own family situation example.
Nigga, what?
Do you think this is some kind of transference?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Look
I
at
think
me. Let's say it.
Yes. Garbage. Done. Trash.
Please find a new
Throw them away.
therapist.
You're fired.
If you were to tell somebody, you know, what are some good things to look like if you're on Psychology Today, if you're on Therapy Den, if you're wherever state you are, like looking for a therapist, what are good things to look for in a therapist?